You might have seen this building in our video before, down at the end of the complex. Actually bigger than the local Walmart. Just got leased out. You'll never guess what they're doing in here. A marijuana production facility. Do you imagine all the weed that's going to be cranking out of this giant monster building here? Someone's going to be making a lot of money. But not me. We're at our garage and test facility. Last week we had a Lexus. Understand they're sending me another one this week. 2 weeks in a row. Lucky me. And here it is, a nice Lexus IS sedan. F-Sport package. It's intended to compete with the compact BMW, Mercedes, and Audi sedans. Mainly the BMW 3 Series, which is one of my favorite German sedans anyway, which I can never get for some reason. This is the more expensive IS 350, which is more expensive than the IS 300. With the more expensive F-Sport package, an emblem out here so all the people in your neighborhood will know you spent the extra money. You have 3 engine choices under the hood. A 4-cylinder turbo putting out 241 horsepower. A 3.5-liter V6 putting out 260 horsepower hooked to a 6-speed automatic and all-wheel drive. You don't see too many of those on the road. And this one here, 3.5-liter V6, 311 horsepower hooked to an 8-speed automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive. Fuel economy is listed at 20 in the city, 28 on the highway, and 23 overall. We'll be taking this out in the real world to see what it really does. And we're starting just over 42,000 bucks on this one. You got the F-Sport package, 3,700 bucks. A couple other doodads. And there's the total damage. We also did a road test on the Lexus LC 500. We'll have a link for that video at the end of this video. And last week we drove the Lexus GSF. $89,000 over the car there. We'll have a link for that video at the end of this video as well. So you're getting 3 Lexus videos for the price of 1, which is free. These triple beam headlights, $1,160 extra. Are they worth it? Let's take them out in the dark and see. It's dark enough. I'll take these headlights out, see how they work. Yeah, let's get some more light in these lenses. There we go. Here we have the brights only building 100 feet away. Pretty strong in the middle, not much of a spread. Here are the low beams. Amazing. No height at all. I think these are the lowest headlights I've ever seen in my life. Even at 25 feet, I'm not getting much height. Let's go to a longer distance and see what happens. Here we have the brights only building 300 feet away. Bright enough. Decent spread. Go low beam. Doesn't quite make it. These low beams are okay for city driving, I guess, but on the backcountry roads, you will definitely need the brights, which work just fine. And if you change the drive modes, you get this nice light show. If you get bored. I'm kind of curious to see if we get a spare tire at this price. Let's take a look. Yep, we sure do. A lot of cars you don't. I had an $89,000 Lexus GSF last week. Did not have a spare. They say they do that to save weight, but I think they do it to save money. If you're driving a new Lexus, it'd be a good idea to look in your trunk and see if you have a spare tire. A lot of people don't look. Don't know they don't have one. Nice to know if you get a flat. Newer Lexus models have a finger touch pad to control the infotainment system, which I find to be a horrible setup. I like this older deal here where you have the toggle switch. Works a lot better. They never should have done away with this. this method is far easier to use. The climate control is very easy to use. Well, almost. Instead of the knob to control the temperature, you have the silly finger touch thing, which, well, it works, but it's kind of silly. I think they're doing away with this in the next model, as they should. Simple knobs work every time. You have a master control for Eco, Normal, Custom, Sport, or Sport Plus driving. And every time you turn the knob, you get something different on your gauge cluster here. If you want to change gears manually, you have paddle shifters located on the steering wheel where they belong. You reach them regardless of the wheel position. Unlike some European cars where you put the paddle shifters on the steering column back here, which is stupid because it means you can only reach them when you're going in a straight line, not in corners. They belong on the steering wheel, and Lexus got it right. The glove box has plenty of room, but only if you take out that monster-sized owner's manual and toss it in the trunk. Some people are not impressed with the interior. I looked on the web, and there was one complaint, some bimbo by the name of Anna Z, who gave the Lexus IS 350 interior 1 star out of 5. And let's see what she says. The cup holder is too far back, and there's no storage in the middle console. Well, let's see. The cup holders are back a ways, but I guess you can't figure out how to reach over with your left hand. And yes, the storage is limited, but you didn't notice this when you saw the car in the showroom? Duh. Then she goes on to say the back seat only fits 2 passengers comfortably. Well, that's true. It only seats 2 people comfortably, but that's why it's called a compact. If you have a car that's only wide enough to fit 2, you can't fit 3. If you need 3, you get a bigger car. Again, didn't you notice this when you saw the car in the showroom? Duh. She complains about some other things. I'm not going to list it all. I think what's really scary is somebody's probably married to this dingbat. Poor guy. I'm glad it's not me. This gauge cluster is a mixed bag. It is basically well designed and gives you lots of useful information in the center here. That's the good news. The bad news, well, when you get out in the sun in the real world, you get just a wee bit of reflection and glare, depending on the angle of the sun, time of day. Can you read that? I can't. And this seems to be a trait on almost all Lexus models. You think somebody would have noticed this early production and would have fixed it, but they didn't. And apparently won't. This is one of the quirks you have to put up with if you're driving a Lexus. The factory wants you to put 36 pounds of air in the tires for maximum handling, and I find that to be a bit excessive because it results in a stiff ride too, but we test cars the way factory specs require, so that's why we're running in this vehicle. And we're going to take some speed bumps to evaluate the suspension performance and impact, and we'll do that right now. "20 miles per hour, bump number 1. Pretty smooth. Number 2. Number 3. And here comes the nasty one. Yeah, I felt that one. Overall, the biggest gripe with the Lexus IS 350 is not really the ride itself, it's just the noise the tires generate with the high tire pressures and suspension design. It's not a quiet car on the freeway if you get on rough pavement, but you can live with it. By the way, Lexus did a great job on this power steering. Even though it's electric, it feels hydraulic. Great feel and feedback. Why can't the Germans do this? Oh well, you'll like the power steering on the Lexus though. Now here we have some rough pavement. You can definitely hear the thumping. As we get to another highway, it will smooth out a bit. And thump, thump, thump is what you're hearing. Can't do much about it. Hey, it's a sports sedan, right? Why complain? Now that we hit the smoother pavement, definitely quite a ride. This is a peppy engine, but on the other hand, this vehicle is not exactly lightweight. So they claim 0 to 60 time of 5.8 seconds. Sounds about right. Let's see what this one does. Well, here we go with the glare again. If you can read it. We'll try it with the traction control off. Well, if you have your stopwatch at home, you can click it and get the real time. This glare is just... Come on, Lexus. All the engineering you put on this car, you can't design a gauge cluster we can read in the sun. I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. I'll get a nasty email from Lexus, but hey, it's true. We're averaging 20 miles to the gallon. We're going to take this out on the freeway and get some highway mileage. Starting right now. We're coming to the end of the road. We'll pull over and see what our fuel economy computer says. Well, that was a nice 50-mile run. 30.7 mpg. Not bad. Here's another example of the high beam versus low beam out on a country road. Here we have the high beams on. Lights up quite well. Low beam does not go very far at all. So out on these roads, we're going to need our high beam for sure. In fact, we're going to take this Lexus IS out of some backcountry roads with some very tight corners and try not to hit any skunks or mountain lions. They are out here tonight. And I know I sound like a broken record regarding these headlights on the low beam, but here we have the headlights on a high beam. Low beam, look how they disappear in the pavement here. The low beams are not very good for roads like this. Nada. Okay, no more about the headlights, I promise. On tight curves like this, using the paddle shifters to pick the gear you want can be great fun, but for my purposes, I'm just going to put it in the sport mode and let the transmission pick itself. Either way works fine, but this way is easier. And this thing does take corners very well. Sticking to the road like glue, actually. The brake pedal feel on this car is a little on the mushy side, but the brakes do stop and never seem to get hot, so that's really what counts. I think I could do this all night and the car's not going to get tired at all. A very nice sports sedan for backcountry roads and tight corners like this. The sad part is 90% of the people who buy this IS350 are just going to use it to go to work and back. Very few will take it on back roads like this, and that's a shame. They don't know what they're missing. The computer's going bonkers now. Shut up! I don't want to talk to you!
Could you say it louder?
No, I can't say it any louder. Shut up.
Sorry, could you say it softer?
Unbelievable. How do you turn this thing off?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Bite me.
If that's correct, please say yes.
Yes.
Voice recognition has been canceled.
Thank you. Well, aside from the voice recognition interruption, this was a very pleasant trip. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. Enjoyed the car thoroughly, too. So what's my take on this Lexus after a week of driving? Well, it's probably a bit heavier than it needs to be and more expensive than it should be, but it's a very reliable sedan, performs very well, excellent quality. Definitely worth your attention if you're looking for a small, sporty sedan. Here are some other Lexus vehicles we've driven recently. Just click on the video and watch.